What's going on, everybody? Eric Lindquist at Stochastic here on the Odd Chopper channel, coming to you with a Friday edition of NBA Lindy's Leans, Likes, and Locks. Hit that like button, subscribe button, notification bell. Goes a long way for me on this video. Goes a long way for you. That way you become a prize whenever great content gets going live here at our little neck of the YouTube woods. Why am I smiling? I'm not happy because Kyrie Irving didn't end up playing basketball, and we got 10. Yes, you heard me. 10 PRA, 10 total stats in closing line value. He went from 29.5 to 39.5, 38.5 at a couple of books where he closed at. 36.5 was sitting with massive juice on it if you were at one of those books, but otherwise 38.5, 39.5. And of course, he ends up being out with that shoulder, which just was a late piece of news that came down right to the wire. And that sucks because, well, I felt really good about that call and felt good about everybody. You want to tune into this night before? Obviously, if you tuned in this night before, you got a great opportunity to fire that play up. Right around midnight Eastern, 9 p.m. Pacific is when it drops. So, yeah, whatever. We move on to the next. Well, that just ends up as a void. It's not even a loss. But sometimes some of those really stick in you because he would have had like a 95% expected win percentage on something that was valued much, substantially less on that. But anywho, no crying over spilled milk or whatever my grandma said. It was something like that. But anyway, we got 50% off. Lindy 5-0. 3 games to break down here in the NBA. And woof, woof. It's a dog day. I'm excited. Producer Jacob, are you? What you know about parlay? He's talking about parlaying my picks. Have I taught him nothing? Whatever. Producer Jacob, let's get to the picks. First off, if you're traveling out for the holidays, I wish you the merriest of airport beers because those are the absolute best beers. But Charlotte, 76ers, tell you what, there's not a lot of, there might be a lot of drinking of the old eggnog there in Philadelphia with the current state of this basketball team. Still no Joel Embiid, which is just so wild because, well, Joel Embiid ends up being one of those guys that time and time again, you don't know. But, I mean, he's questionable, I guess, for this one. But I saw a report that he wasn't going to end up playing because it's Charlotte. I don't know. The NBA, I suppose, could end up having some type of a pull here. But the more I run iterations of this game, I'm really nervous. I'm nervous about this play purely because it got bet into this range, 9.5. Because Brandon Miller got scratched out of nowhere. And if you watched the night before, under 3.5 threes, well, I had Brandon Miller in because otherwise I never would have thrown that up on a video screen. But hey, that's why I generally wait until day of and talk you through all of my lesses and my unders that I take in that premium Discord. Because stuff like that tends to happen from time to time. And, well, Portfolio EV will be getting you on the better side of things over at Odd Chopper. A lot of unders that are going to be fired up in those streets. But Charlotte, I'm assuming LaMelo Ball is good to play here on this back-to-back. I'm also assuming that Brandon Miller, that they maybe were looking to utilize him on one side of this back-to-back. And with Joel Embiid questionable, if he ends up in, this is probably going to sit right around and it's going to be efficient. But I kind of like the dog here in this spot. Charlotte plus 9.5. You work through some of their numbers, and the Mark Williams, Nick Richards thing is very, very important. I want both of them in there in order to deal with Embiid if he ends up in. But again, saw a report that he was potentially going to be out for this one. I don't know what to make of it entirely. All I know is the 76ers are in shambles, and you're giving me nearly 10 points here on this team at any point in time. I'll be a fish. I'll take it. I'll bite. I have this closer to 7.5. Milwaukee at Cleveland. And again, this show is going to absolutely fly and you're going to get a theme. This wasn't even planned, friends, but not a lot of prop exposure here on the night before as of this moment. But Milwaukee, they win the NBA Cup. Yay. Darvin Ham wins back-to-back year. Well, assistant coach this time around. But shout out to the Bucks for not celebrating there in that fashion because, I don't know, I just kind of thought it was funny because the NBA Cup was not that enjoyable to watch this season. Hoping for better things ahead. But Milwaukee, they're getting 8 points because Damian Lillard already ruled out for this basketball game, and that is going to be a lot of stats that need to get replaced. But don't forget, Chris Middleton has a chance to get those minutes ramped up at any given moment. And I think coming off of an illness in Vegas where he didn't play on Tuesday, I think he's in line for a decent amount of minutes here. I've got him for north of 26, which doesn't sound like a lot, but that's a lot of minutes for Chris Middleton specifically, and you need them against Cleveland here. But the key part is Giannis Antetokounmpo is still playing basketball, and despite what you have on the interior there with Evan Mobley and Jared Allen, it's still Giannis Antetokounmpo. And I think Chris Middleton steps into the starting lineup. You get a defensive-minded guy in Delon Wright out on the field, on the court for a longer period of time against Darius Garland and Donovan Mitchell, who, I mean, haven't even really had to do all that much. Some of these points props on Donovan Mitchell are just auspiciously low, but they blow everybody out. But Milwaukee wins the NBA Cup. Now you switch out Damian Lillard, who's terrible defensively, but obviously an offensive superstar. But you flip that into Chris Middleton, who is good on both ends of the floor. Yeah, he's going to play 10 less minutes than you're going to have Dame projected for in a spot like this, or 8 fewer minutes for sure. But I think you still got to like getting the points here with Milwaukee. Are they going to have the hangover effect? I don't think about any of that stuff unless there's some narrative. Dorian Finney-Smith, shout out from last season. That was good times. But Milwaukee, +8 here? Oh, I got to take the points. And Chris Middleton, I'm going to throw this in for the people too. 10 plus points, 5 plus assists. They took all of the assists and all of the plays off the board. I think when they reintroduced this, though, I want to assume Chris Middleton's starting. I want to assume 26 minutes right from the get-go. And if I do that, I have a feeling books are going to lower. I mean, it's still not going to be crazy. I think it was 7.5 and 5.5. Well, no, 7.5, 4.5. I'm expecting 10 and 5 to still fit in nicely at better than 2.5 to 1. As long as it does, I'll fire that up. But until I do, it's a lean for now. This ain't a lean, 50% off, friends. This is a lock to be able to jump into my premium Discord and save yourself 50% off. What is that price point? Well, becomes $10 for your first week or $25 for your first month. Yes, 20 becomes 10, 50 becomes 25. That is less than $1 a day if you want to come check it out for a month. Give it a lot of time. Well, not a lot of time. You don't have to give it a any time, basically. We're going to show why this community is one of the best ones that exists here in the betting space, because we're talking through bets all the live long day. I'm talking through pick'em cards all the live long day, and you have direct access to me, which is not something that's all that available at a number of other quote unquote cappers that you'll see in the industry. Now in Tails, it's awesome because at Tails here at Odd Chopper, we vet all of the people who come in, profitable bettors who also are very interactive with their Discords. And I appreciate that about our space, appreciate that about all the cappers that we have, but also I will always be available to you. If you hit me up with a DM, if you tag me, I will find a way to get back to you, because apparently I just live by my computer. 50% off, $10 for your first week, 25 for your first month. Back to the picks we go. Only one more game. What a time to be alive. To the last game of the night, Oklahoma City, 2-point favorites taking on Miami. Well, based on the last two games, I think you have an idea of where I might be going in this one. And I will say, I'm a little bit nervous because I've been tracking this Oklahoma City Orlando Magic game the whole way. And it's now a 10-point game, but I think that benefits me in this play here, and I'll explain why. OKC played on Tuesday. They played on Thursday. They're playing on Friday. And these are not easy defensive matchups. Milwaukee just put the clamps down on them. Generally, it would be an easier matchup. The second part of this, well, going up against Orlando, probably one of the more defensively forward teams in the National Basketball Association. And lastly, taking on Miami, which for guys like SGA with the backcourt, it is what it is. But I'm nervous because I do think there's a chance with the amount of injuries, with how long the season it is, and with the profile of OKC. They are just smashing souls here in the early portion. And coming into Thursday, 20-5, obviously that game is pending. They're only up 10 now in this third quarter, late third quarter as I'm recording. But I got all the numbers available to me, and I think there's a chance to OKC rest some guys here on this back-to-back. Now, the main ones you want, Jalen Williams, duh. SGA, duh. Isaiah Hartenstein, duh. One of those three would be ideal. Now, it wouldn't hurt to have Lou Dort take a seat. It wouldn't hurt to have Cason Wallace or whomever else sitting as well. But I think the big ones, you're trying to lure one of those three big fishes with rest here. There's still the chance, though, in Miami when you model this out where it's a 2.5-point spread, but it changes drastically if any one of those three players rest. And again, 3 games in 4 days for a team that is now dominating the West. Despite what we saw in a 1-game sample size, they still don't have Chet Holmgren. They just need to keep some pieces healthy. And I think this is a obvious rest candidate spot for one of those guys. And with that, in fact, the easiest way to take advantage, well, we tried to take advantage with the Kyrie spot because, read the injury report perfectly. I do think Kyrie was probably more probable to play than Luka based on the fact that they were almost 24 hours apart in getting ruled out. But the easiest way to take advantage of it is just bet the spread on the other side. Miami +2. If we just assume that the marketplace is efficient right now, and I am assuming that there is news that can break to change that, Miami +2 is the spot you want to be invested. Now, props, we'll revisit. I did take a look here at some Miami rotations, took a look at ways that Bam Adebayo, Jimmy Butler, as he's starting to get ramped up, but they have Nikola Jovic, who got upgraded to questionable. Pelle Larsson got upgraded to questionable. There's still a lot of pieces of news that need to drop. So if you want to know if I bet anything else here, hit me up on X at Eric Lindquist, or the best spot, Tails. That is going to be down at the Discord below. And that does it for a quick and easy edition of NBA Lindy's Leans, Likes, and Locks. Head to the comment section below. Let me know if you're riding all three dogs as of right now. Hoping a little bit of news breaks our direction. Obviously, not looking for anything from the clouds like we got Brandon Miller rolled out from the clouds, Kyrie from the clouds. Could have been looking more at some Spencer Dinwiddie props, I suppose, although there was like one book with them available. But I'm trying to give you the best information night before. I still think that no matter what happens here on Thursday, the run out, it's a bummer. Kyrie gets rolled out and that gets voided. But at least it wasn't a loss. He didn't sprain his ankle in a first quarter, so we will move on, my friends. Lindy50, 50% off down at the link below. And check out NFL Lindy's, which is rocking for Saturday, which is rocking for Sunday. Tons of content coming your way throughout Friday, and then I'll be back in the NBA streets on Monday. Until then, thank you, Producer Jacob. I'm Eric Lindquist. Best of luck in the NBA streets on Friday.